Pam Reynolds. When my heart stopped, I became everything. Pam didn't believe in life after death. She was a grounded, practical woman. Wife, mother, musician. But one day, a dangerous aneurysm deep in her brain brought her to the operating table. To save her life, doctors had to literally shut everything down. Stop her heart, stop her brain, drain her blood, freeze her body. Medically, she was dead. And that's when her real life began. At first, there was a low vibration, not a sound, but something like a living tone inside her. Then came the separation. Not frightening, not confusing, but gentle, like taking off a heavy coat after a long walk. She rose up. She saw her own body. She saw the tools. She heard the surgeons. And yet, her brain was clinically offline. I wasn't seeing with eyes, I just knew. I was everywhere. Then came the light. Not a tunnel, not a flash. It felt like a memory. It didn't call her, it recognized her, as if saying, "You've always been here." In that field of light were souls. Some she had known, others unfamiliar yet deeply familiar. They didn't speak, but she understood. You are not the body, you are energy. You are part of the unified field, you just forgot. She didn't want to return, but something in her, or around her, whispered, "You are needed, go back and remind the others." So she came back, to a body that felt tight, slow, heavy, but the clarity remained. From that moment on, Pam no longer feared death, because she knew death was not an end. It was a remembering.
Story 2. Dr. Rajiv Party. I faced myself and couldn't look away. Dr. Rajiv Party was the last person you'd expect to have a spiritual awakening. A strict medical professional, deeply skeptical, focused on science, success, and control. He didn't believe in souls or energy or karma. Until the day his own body shut down. It happened during a medical crisis after surgery. Suddenly, he found himself above the table, looking down at his own body. He could see everything. He could feel the emotions of the staff. He was no longer his body. He was awareness, presence, pure perception. But then it changed. He dropped deep into another space. It wasn't hell, it was himself. Scenes from his life began unfolding, moments he was proud of, and many he had buried. His arrogance, his coldness, his control. How he had hurt his son with criticism, how he resented his father, how he looked down on patients. There was no one judging him, but everything was seen. It wasn't punishment, it was truth. It was the echo of the energy I had created. And then, a light. Not outside him, but rising within. He saw figures, not faces, but vibrations of love. He just knew. Buddha. Jesus. Beings of peace. They didn't lecture, they simply were. And suddenly he remembered. You are not the body. You are vibration. You are a wave in the ocean of consciousness. He was given a choice. You can stay, or return, and live differently. He came back, and everything changed. He left his title. He forgave his father. He began listening, not diagnosing. He began serving, not controlling. And when he looks into someone's eyes now, he doesn't see a patient, he sees himself, the one he met when everything fell away.
Story 3, Anita Morjani. When I accepted myself, my body started to heal. Anita had been fighting cancer for years. Lymphoma had spread. Her organs were shutting down. Doctors were preparing for her death. Then she fell into a coma, and in that moment, everything opened. She left her body, but not like a ghost in a movie. She didn't float, she expanded. She became space, awareness. She was no longer Anita, she was simply being. She looked at her body, but it wasn't her. It was a shell, a costume. And she was part of something immeasurable, a current in the great field of consciousness. There was no time, no thought, only clarity. She felt a presence, her father. He didn't speak, but she heard him clearly inside. You've spent your life being afraid to be yourself. Enough. Just be. And in that instant, she understood. Her illness was not the enemy. It was her body trying to speak to her, trying to say, "Please stop hiding." When she finally accepted herself, not partially but completely, everything changed. The light that surrounded her began to pour into her body, and she returned. Doctors were stunned. Within days, her vitals stabilized. Within weeks, no tumors, gone. It wasn't a miracle. It was what happens when you stop resisting who you are. Since then, she teaches people not to fight life, but to live with awareness. She teaches them to rise above pain, fear, emotion, to watch life like a movie and understand why every scene happened. She says, "You are not the body. You are energy. You are part of a field that has always loved you. And the moment you allow it, you begin to heal."